Hey, feeling good, like I should. When in dark, I walk around the neighborhood. Feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine on my Sunday best.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we have a special ambient and backlighting based photo shoot behind the scenes for you. Guys, this might just be my favorite photo shoot yet. I mean, everything from the location, the time of year, the variety of different lighting styles used, as well as the many lessons learned. Guys, I have no doubt that you're going to gain a ton of valuable insights from this video, and I can't wait to share them all with you today. Now guys, we have a lot to cover, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the video. And so for our first composition, we decided to take advantage of the fact that this old building was located on top of a steep grassy hill, making it the perfect opportunity to get creative with the angle at which the photos were captured. And more specifically, I decided to angle myself from down low and facing upwards so as to create a more epic, impactful, and dramatic effect.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Some of you guys have been asking to see a bit of my editing process in Photoshop, so here you can see the before image. Here's after doing the initial adjustments, then I apply my 6-step editing workflow, and finally some skin retouching. And here's the final before and after. By capturing photos from a low angle like this, it forces the viewer to look up towards your model, creating a unique and powerful perspective. I like to think of it as the superhero effect, since a lot of Marvel and DC movie posters often use this dramatic angle when posing their heroes. By shooting from this angle, you're also able to incorporate more of your model's hands into the foreground, which helps to create a spatial layering effect, effectively boosting your photo's sense of depth and 3-dimension. In addition to the low angle effects, what also contributes to the dramatic and cinematic feel of this composition is the fact that these images were captured using a backlighting based lighting style, as indicated by the rim light or glowing halo around the model's edge. Backlighting is one of my all-time favorite lighting setups because it not only creates a magical and dreamy effect, but also because it does a really good job at separating the model from the background, making your subject pop and look more 3D. And this 3D effect is further magnified by the fact that the model was sitting in front of a darker background, effectively intensifying the perception of the glowing rim light against the darker backdrop, thereby boosting the subject background separation. By the way, let me know in the comments down below if you'd like me to make a full video on the topic of backlighting in the future. So moving on now to our next mini location, we decided to shoot right in front of the entrance to this beautiful building, which just so happens to be a work of art in and of itself. I mean, just look at how majestic this thing was. And for this location, as you may have noticed, I decided to use an LED light stick to assist with the lighting and also to help create some cool 3D lighting effects on the model, as you will soon see in the photo results. I absolutely love this thing. I simply just do not go out on a shoot without it anymore. It comes with all these awesome colors so that you can use them on creative shoots, and it gives the perfect additional boost of light whenever you are lacking ambient lighting in the setting that you're shooting. As was the case in this particular scenario, since we were burrowed away under the shelter above the door. Now, the way that the LED stick makes the model pop and look more 3D is because it creates a singular directional source of light. Directional light makes the model look more 3D because of how it creates a gradient of light to shadow from one side of your model to the other. The incorporation of both light and shadow is one of the biggest secrets to creating more shape and dimension in photography in general. So here's another sneak peek into the editing process. Here is the initial adjustments using Camera Raw. Here is the skin retouching, and here I apply my typical 6-step editing workflow. And here is a before and after. Moving on now to our next location, I decided to take advantage of the stunning tall hedges and vines located right next to the building's front door. which contains some beautiful red, green, and orange leaves. I thought that these colors would make the perfect backdrop for some fall-inspired shots. The lighting setup for this spot was predominantly ambient lighting, with the light stick used intermittently. Now, the thing that I love the most about ambient lighting is how flattering it is on your subject's skin. It just creates this beautiful, soft, low contrast look on the face, which can be a great and refreshing alternative to the high contrast portrait style that I typically go for. And don't get me wrong, I do love the high contrast portrait look, especially because of how impactful and eye-catching these images can be. But if you are looking to add more variety and diversity to your photography portfolio, softer ambient lighting shots can be a great way to achieve this. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to forego the high contrast look altogether. In fact, what I learned from this shoot is that one way that you can get the best of both worlds is by using ambient lighting to illuminate your subject whilst placing them in front of a darker background. And here is the Photoshop editing process. Here is the initial adjustments, skin retouching, and my editing workflow. And here's a before and after. Now, speaking of adding variety to your shots, another really great way to do this is by adding props to your composition. And so that's exactly what I did when I pulled out my trusty candle and mason jar filled with fairy lights for Flo to incorporate into her poses. Adding props to your composition not only adds variety to your images, but also increases the visual interest of your photography in general, especially when the prop used is something shiny or reflective. Now, why shiny, you might ask? Well, as you may or may not know, we as human beings are in fact hardwired to love shiny things. Whether it's shiny cars, glitter, candles, or jewelry, we just can't seem to get enough of that gloss and shine. Many scientists today believe that our infatuation with shiny things originates from our hunter-gatherer ancestors who lived in dry and arid environments and would get enormous rushes of dopamine whenever they spotted the faint glistening of a body of water in the distance. Anyways, all to say that integrating shiny elements or props into your photo composition is a science-backed and proven way to make your images look much more visually interesting and appealing.
Say whatever, 'cause there is no way you're around it. 'Cause everyone falls down sometime, but you just gotta know it'll all be fine.
And so here we have the raw photo. Here we have the initial adjustments applied. Here we have the skin retouching, and finally my typical 6-step editing workflow. So here is a before and after. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please let me know in the comments down below. I love connecting with you there. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already so that you're notified whenever I release a new video. Take care for now.
Walk around the neighborhood, feeling blessed.